They are not rewarding your talent. They are rewarding your compliance. And the moment you understand the difference, everything changes. Think about the people above you right now. Are they there because they were the best, or because they never challenged the system that put them there? You already know the answer. You have known it for a long time. Here's a real example. You had an idea that was better than your manager's. You said nothing, or said it quietly, because the culture rewarded agreement. Someone else took a version of that idea later, got the credit, got the position. You got the lesson. That system, the one that rewards compliance over capability, is not an accident. It is a design. And Machiavelli documented exactly why those in power build it, maintain it, and need you to never fully understand it. Obedience is not the same as loyalty. Compliance is not the same as dedication. And the reward you have been receiving for your obedience is not recognition. It is control. They are keeping you manageable, not elevating you. Machiavelli watched this system operate for 14 years at the highest levels of power. He called obedience rewarding one of the most elegant traps ever constructed, because the person inside it believes they are being valued, they are being managed. Today, that trap becomes visible. Not so you can blow up your career or become difficult, so you can finally understand what game is being played and make an informed choice about how you participate in it. This knowledge is for liberation, not rebellion. There is a difference between understanding a system and being destroyed by it. After today, you will have the understanding. What you do with it belongs entirely to you. Machiavelli's most suppressed warning was this: the system that rewards your obedience will never reward your greatness, because your greatness, fully expressed, threatens the system, and systems protect themselves. Stay with me, because what follows will change how you read every reward and every withholding you have ever received. Here's what you were taught: work hard, follow the rules, be a team player, earn trust through consistency, and the system will reward you. That story is not entirely false, but it is missing the most important clause. The missing clause: the system rewards obedience up to the point where you become more valuable than the people above you. At that point, the rewards stop, the ceiling appears, and if you have been told the system is fair, you will blame yourself for hitting it. You have blamed yourself for that ceiling, your confidence, your communication, your approach. You have spent years trying to fix yourself for a system that was never broken. It was working exactly as designed. Machiavelli understood that every power structure contains a built-in mechanism for managing the people who could challenge those at the top. Reward compliance, penalize independence. Make the cage comfortable enough that most people never look for the door. The most dangerous thing about this system is not that it traps you, it is that it trains you. Every reward for obedience is a small training signal. Over time, you stop reaching for the door, not because it disappeared, because you forgot you ever wanted to. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. You are not learning to become ungovernable. You are learning to distinguish between the rewards that genuinely reflect your value and the rewards that are managing your behavior. Once you can read the difference, you can make real choices. Stay in the system with full awareness, leave it with full information, negotiate within it from a position of understanding. Stop being managed by rewards you cannot read. The people who built the systems you operate in understood this dynamic clearly. They know which rewards produce compliance. They deploy them deliberately. Understanding what they understand is not cynicism, it is parity. Machiavelli's princes who held power longest were those who understood this mechanism from the inside, not the most obedient, the ones who understood the system and chose their participation deliberately. 6 lessons. Each one will make one specific reward in your life newly readable, and once you read it, you cannot unread it.
Niccolo Machiavelli spent 14 years inside one of the most sophisticated obedience management systems ever constructed. the Florentine Republic at the height of its political complexity. He watched it reward compliance and penalize independence with surgical consistency. He was eventually punished not for incompetence, but for independence. When the political tide turned, the system discarded him the moment he became inconvenient. He lost everything. And then, from exile, he wrote the most honest account of why. He wrote, and this is verified from his discourses on Livy, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." Read that from the other direction. The man who only knows how to obey, who has never learned to command himself, will always be managed by those who have. He was not telling you to become a tyrant. He was telling you that self-command, the ability to govern your own direction, your own judgment, your own choices, is what separates the man who is used by systems from the man who uses them. 6 lessons drawn from his direct experience of being rewarded for obedience and then discarded when his independence became inconvenient. He learned this at the highest possible cost. You are getting it directly. Read them carefully. At least one will describe something happening in your life right now. Lesson 1. Every reward from a system that benefits from your compliance is also a leash. Not always, but often enough to check, and the check costs you nothing. A genuine reward expands your capability and your freedom. It gives you more resources, more authority, more room to operate as yourself. A management reward keeps you comfortable at your current level. It feels like progress. The floor just got nicer. The ceiling did not move. Starting today, when you receive a reward, any reward, ask one question. Does this expand my freedom and capability, or does it make me more comfortable where I already am? The answer tells you what the reward actually is. Think about your last significant recognition at work. Did it come with more autonomy, more decision-making authority, or did it come with a nicer title, a small salary adjustment, and an implicit expectation that you would continue doing exactly what produced the recognition? Machiavelli noted that the most sophisticated rulers kept their most capable people comfortable, well compensated, well praised, and entirely dependent. The comfort was the mechanism, the chain was the praise, and the capable ones called it loyalty. Lesson 2. Your obedience has a market rate, and if you do not know what it is, someone else is setting it for you. They are almost certainly setting it lower than it should be. Every organization has an implicit exchange. This much of your independent judgment withheld, this much of your capability not fully expressed, this much of your time in exchange for this salary, this title, this security. Most people never make that exchange explicit, so they accept whatever the system offers. Starting today, make the exchange explicit in your own mind. What are you actually giving in terms of judgment withheld, independence surrendered, capability not fully expressed, and what are you actually getting? Is that a trade you would make consciously? Here's a real example. A man stays in a role 2 years past his growth ceiling because the salary is good. He has made an exchange, his next 2 years of development, for the comfort of not negotiating. That exchange might be worth it, but it should be conscious, not defaulted into. Machiavelli was explicit about this in his own life. He knew what his service to Florence cost him in intellectual freedom. He made the exchange consciously until the day it stopped being worth it. Then he stopped.
Lesson 3. Systems that reward obedience penalize independence. Not always openly, often subtly, through being passed over, through being given less interesting work, through the quiet label, difficult. The penalty is real. Build your independence anyway. The penalty for independence within an obedience-rewarding system is real and should not be minimized. You will be passed over for people who agree more readily. You will receive the label difficult, not a team player. Accept this as the known cost of the alternative. 10 years from now, the compliant version of you is in the same cage, slightly better furnished. The independent version, who paid the penalty and built anyway, is somewhere the compliant version cannot reach. You are paying toward one of those futures right now. Starting today, identify one area where you have been withholding your independent judgment to avoid the penalty. Not recklessly, with a plan. What would it look like to express that judgment in the safest possible way that still expresses it genuinely? Machiavelli built his independence entirely outside the system that penalized it. His writing, done in exile beyond the system's reach, was where his genuine capability fully expressed itself. Find your outside. Build there. Lesson 4. The most dangerous dependency is when all your rewards come from one source. When one system controls your validation, income, security, and identity, it controls you completely. Diversify your rewards. When your only validation comes from your employer, they own your self-worth. When your only income comes from one source, they own your security. When your only identity comes from your title, they own your sense of self. That complete ownership is the most effective form of control available. Starting today, identify one reward that currently comes entirely from the system you are in. Then ask, where else could I get this? Not to abandon the system, to reduce your dependency on it. A man with options negotiates differently than a man without them. Here is a real example. A man whose entire professional identity lives in one company is completely manageable by that company. The same man who has built skills and a reputation that exist outside any single employer negotiates from an entirely different position, even inside the same job. Machiavelli never allowed any single patron to own his complete dependency. Even at the height of his service to Florence, he maintained independent intellectual work and independent relationships. That independence was what survived when everything else was taken. Lesson 5. Most people assume they are being rewarded for performance. They are often being rewarded for something else: their predictability, their non-threatening nature, their willingness to make others comfortable. Performance is part of it. It is rarely all of it. This matters because if you keep improving your performance when the actual reward is going to someone who makes fewer waves, you will keep being confused about why the effort is not producing the result. Starting today, look at who is being rewarded above you, not what they are doing, what they are not doing, what lines they never cross, what challenges they never make, what discomforts they never create. That is what the system is actually paying for. Once you know what the system is actually paying for, you can make a real choice. Pay that price consciously and receive the reward consciously, or refuse to pay it and find your reward elsewhere. Both are valid. Neither is naive. Machiavelli knew exactly what Florence was paying him for. Not his ideas, his execution. Not his independence, his reliability. He provided what was purchased consciously and built his real work in the spaces the purchase did not cover. Lesson 6. The ultimate answer to a system that rewards your obedience is to build toward a context where your greatness is the product, not the threat. Not everyone reaches it immediately, but everyone can begin moving toward it today. Inside most obedience-rewarding systems, your full capability is a threat to those above you. In the right context, your own work, your own domain of genuine expertise, your full capability is the entire point. Find or build that context. This does not mean quitting tomorrow. It means beginning today, in whatever small way is available, to build the context where the ceiling does not exist. An hour a day, a project on the side. The direction matters more than the speed. Here is a real example. A man works in a company that rewards his reliability and ignores his ideas. He begins writing one piece a week about the ideas the company will not hear. In 2 years, the writing has an audience. His ideas are valued somewhere. His dependency on the company's approval has decreased. He exists differently. Machiavelli's greatest work was done in exile, outside the system entirely. The Prince, the discourses, all produced after the system discarded him. The system's rejection created the space where his real contribution became possible. You do not need to be rejected to build that space. You can build it now.
The old compliance is finished. The version of you that accepted rewards without reading them, that optimized for the wrong variable and wondered why the results did not match the effort. That man operated without the information he needed. Now he has it. You are a weapon pointed at your own future. A man who understands what he is being rewarded for and what he is actually worth cannot be managed through rewards he can read. That readability is genuine freedom, not from systems, within them, and eventually beyond them. You belong to no one, not to the system that managed you through comfort, not to the ceiling that was designed rather than deserved, not to the rewards that were leashes you mistook for recognition. From here, your participation in any system is chosen, conscious, yours. Machiavelli's final lesson, the one he earned through losing everything, was this: the man who understands the system he is in is never fully owned by it. Understanding is the one thing they cannot reward away from you, because the moment they try, you see exactly what they are doing. That is what you have now. Use it well. If this reached you, it reached you because some reward in your life has felt slightly off, like recognition that did not quite expand you, like praise that kept you exactly where you were. You sensed something. Today, you named it. Subscribe if you are building the context where your greatness is the product. This channel is for men who are done being managed through comfort and ready to navigate with full information. Every week, one more mechanism, one more thing the room has been doing that you can now read, one more layer of the game made visible. Be here with your eyes open, because that is the only version of you that benefits from what is coming. Before you go, one question. Think of the last reward you received that felt slightly off, that kept you comfortable rather than expanding you. What was it, and what would you have needed instead?